everybody, welcome back to the Royal Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on. But before we get started, you already know I ask you to do it every single day. I will continue to ask you until you become a part of this community. Why? Because we are building a community. That's why. We are building a tribe. And let me tell you, this community is the best community on these internet streets. And I am not just hyping them up. They are. Go in the comments if you don't believe me. Talk to someone. Get in there and just be a part of it. And I promise you, you're going to find out that they are the best. They are. And if you want to be a part of it, you know what you need to do. Go in these settings. Find that subscribe button and go ahead on and subscribe. And while you're in there, hit your notification bell too, so you know when I upload or when I just want to pop in. And give me a thumbs up to fight my nemesis, the beast, the algorithm. Whew, it drags me, and I just absolutely let it at this point. Also, I just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to the people who support the channel by watching the commercials. I'm telling you, it helps so much. It really does. That support is just everything. And I just want to say thank you because I know it's not easy. They play those commercials over and over and over again. I know they do. But just know that you are really, really helping the channel when you make that sacrifice. So thank you. Also, right about here, that's our join button. That's for channel memberships. And if you choose to become a channel member and a part of the reading club, you will be supporting my channel to grow, to improve, and to continue. And I will be so grateful, so thankful, so over the moon appreciative to have your support. Also, if you just want to do a one-time donation, our super thanks button is right over there. And all donations to the channel is always, always greatly appreciated. It is. All right, y'all, I do have some shout outs. First, I want to shout out Tiger Mommy. What can I say about Tiger Mommy except she's everything? She is a ride or die. She is one of the most faithful supporters of this channel. She is. She's always coming through with the support, and I am so lucky, so thrilled to have her as a part of my community. And thank you, Tiger Mommy. Thank you for the super thanks. Also, I want to shout out Jacqueline Rippey. Jacqueline has become a ride or die. She has. She's always coming through with the support of the channel. And I am just thrilled to have her as a part of this community. She is in the comments, I bet you right now. Just like I was saying, if you want to become a part of this community, you're going to meet people like Jacqueline, who is chef's kiss. So thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for the super thanks. Also, Ella Gully. Ella, thank you for the super thanks. Thank you for becoming a ride or die, because you're always coming through with the support. And thank you for being a part of this community. I mean, thank you for absolutely holding me down. Sometimes I tell y'all, I get tired. Sometimes, the fight gets a little hard, but I go in the comments and there you are, and it is everything. People like Ella is in there supporting, and it just means so much to me. So thank you, Ella. Thank you for the super thanks. All right, y'all. With all that said, let's get to the read. Y'all know I've been in these streets most of the day. Digging up stuff. And so y'all know when I am putting the read together, y'all know what I do. I hit these internet streets, and that's exactly what I have been doing. Like I said, most of the day on all of the platforms I was over to TikTok. First, I always go to Blue Sky. I do it in the same order. I go to Blue Sky, and then I hit TikTok. And then I went to Instagram over there. stalk Meghan a little bit. I didn't see anything new. If I missed something, I went on earlier this morning. I didn't go this afternoon, so maybe I have missed something. But I'll go back over and make sure. And then I was, looking to see what the Instagram squatties were talking about. They still dragging, Sophie Kanduka. They're talking about a lot of things that are going on, like what I made my pop up about earlier today, that Rayvac, that's happening tomorrow, as well as Megan's podcast is jumping off too. And so we just have a lot, to talk about, and a lot going on as Squatty. So yeah, so they're talking about all that on Instagram. And then I made my way over to X, formerly known as Twitter, and to see what the X, formerly known as Twitter, squatties is doing over there in the sewer. And y'all know that's what I call it, the sewer. And they are dragging Sophie, just dragging everybody that needs to be drugged, really. Because they are dragging Charles, and Charles and his horse is in Rome. And so a lot of that going on. And then just a whole lot of little stuff. We have a lot to talk about, let me tell you. We do, because it's a lot of little articles are out too. Now, I can't bring you all of them. I'm going to try to bring them through the week. Some of the ones that I have found that has caught my interest. But tonight, I'm just going to bring one. And I'm really not even going to read it. I'm going to just talk about what the squatties are discussing in the comments, because it's getting more and more difficult for me to read all this nonsense that some of these people be writing, because it be straight up nonsense. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I get to that. All right, y'all. With all that said, let's go on and get started, because like I said, it's a lot. It's a lot. And we are going to start with something fun and something that is starting to happen. I'm going to put this up first. And look, y'all, it says everyone is showing off their as ever products. And my timeline is just so beautiful and peaceful. True. True. My timeline is filled up with people showing off their as ever products have showed up. Their items have showed up. And some of them, I'm going to show a few of them on here, but they have arranged them so beautifully. It's just, it is so great. That's why I said, even though I did not get a chance to get in it, I am thrilled. I am thrilled with the people who did get a chance, and how they are so proud of them, and they are posting them. I knew my timeline was going to fill up with them, and it has. And this particular squatty goes on to say, and we've got Confessions of a Female Founder podcast tomorrow. So by the time you see this, it'll be today. So we got a lot to talk about tomorrow. And like I said, Harry got that Rayvac too. So it's just a lot. We have a lot. But yes, the packages have started to arrive. They have. And look at this one. I'm going to put this one up. I'm going to put up a few that I really, really thought that the squatties just did such a great job to highlight them. And look at this one. Doesn't this look so pretty, the way this particular squatty did it? It says, I can't wait to make shortbread cookie mix for Easter. I'm so excited. But look how beautiful she arranged that. She just showcased it so beautifully. I love it. I do. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put this one up. And this particular person, this squatty is talking about how this European reporter got one of Meghan's PR boxes. I was kind of shocked. Like I said, I don't know this person that well, but this particular squatty said this. Well, look who got a as ever Meghan package, a Royal European reporter. Now, do y'all know this reporter? I don't think I've ever heard of her. Her name is Royal Christic. I never heard of her. Y'all tell me in the comments if y'all have heard of her, but I haven't. But yes, she got a royal box and she was just posting about it. She was saying a very sweet surprise to kick off the weekend. Thank you, Meghan, as ever. Official. I am already enjoying my first cup of lemon ginger tea and I can't wait to try the rest of the treats. Yeah, she seemed like she is Meghan friendly. But like I said, I don't know her. But, if she act crazy, she can get some smoke from me. I'm just saying. But it looks like Meghan chose someone who is Sussex friendly. So all I can say to that is good for her. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. Like I said, it looks like I'm not the only one that's getting kind of emotional seeing all the packages that are arriving from as ever on my timeline. This particular squatter said this: I am so happy watching everyone get their as ever by Megan products delivered today. I am not at all jealous and about to crash the F out. Megan, the Duchess of Sussex, and team, that next drop best be available for us Canadians. I love it. I love it. So she is a Canadian and she is watching everybody get their package. How sweet is that? I'm like that too. Even though I didn't get anything, I am thrilled. My timeline looks so good, y'all. It does. And I'm so, so happy for everybody. I'll get my turn. I will get my turn. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And looks like Daniel Martin got his box. Yes, y'all know that is Megan's bestie, her hairdresser, and her bestie, and was featured on the very first With Love Megan episode. Yes, and y'all, I'm going to give y'all a little tea. I am going to do a pop-up tomorrow about Daniel Martin and something that's going on with him and the trolls. Yes, yes, yes. So y'all keep an eye out for that pop-up because it is going to be good. All right, but let's see what Daniel said. It says this particular squad posted this and said, Megan's longtime bestie and With Love Megan star, Daniel Martin. Thank you so much, love. Look at this. He got it. He did. But like I said, y'all keep your eye out for a pop-up from me about Mr. Daniel Martin because I think he has joined, well, I'll say this. I think he has come around to my way of thinking. Y'all keep an eye out for that pop-up, okay? All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. Look at this. It says this girl on Instagram got all the products from Megan's brand as ever, and she made crepes, all the teas, and use the raspberry jam on many things. Look at that table. It looks delicious and beautiful. Does it not? Does it not? I love the way people are showcasing all of these products on my timeline. It cannot get any better. I thought when With Love Megan dropped and they had all the dishes on there, it was great. But it's even better with her products and the way people are choosing to showcase it. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. And look at the crepes right here. They look so good with the flour sprinkles. They do. Delicious. I love it. All right, y'all. I'm going to put this one up. I just have to do one more. Look at this. It says, look what came and look. And they have an arrow over there for the flour sprinkles. I want some flour sprinkles. But look. Oh my goodness. They are doing such a great job. My timeline, like I said, is great at this time. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And this is from Kaiser from Celebici. And she wrote an article about an article. Y'all know that's the way she does. And it's about this unhinged article coming out of the Daily Fail. And I have noticed now it's always unhinged articles about Harry and Meghan coming out of the Daily Fail. But do y'all think it could be that that lawsuit is coming up and they are getting more and more desperate as the days go by? Because they are coming up with some crazy nonsense. Like this one right here. It says the Daily Fail did an unhinged review of Duchess Meghan's As Ever jam. They did that. That is the craziest thing. And I think they did another one talking about the nutrition value of it. I mean, just craziness. Did I go in here and read this article about an article? No, I did not. Did I go to the Daily Fail's website and read the article about this particular jam review? Absolutely not. I cannot stomach a lot of these articles anymore. So a lot of times I'd rather go in and look at the comments more so than I do the article, because the articles have gotten to be so ridiculous, to say the least. I didn't even go in and look at the comments of this article about an article here on Celebrity by Kaiser. I didn't do any of that. I just found it crazy that these people would do something like this, and how the Daily Fail is just about losing its mind. So I just wanted to draw attention to that they would write an article about jam. And I saw where a squatty was talking about this particular article, and they were saying that this article has gotten so many comments, I mean, so much engagement, that it just blew away anything that the Left Behinds ever get. And they said it was like a joke how Megan's jam got more comments and more engagement than those Left Behinds do when they are out and about doing engagements. And that probably really, really, really rubs them the wrong way, because we all know that that's all they do is look at what's going on in those rags. They live and die, when it comes to those rags over there. If they're on the front page, if they're getting engagement. And I tell you, if they've been paying attention here lately, they should know they're in trouble. I'm just saying, because Megan's jam is getting more engagement than they can. That's sad. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm going to put this up. And this just shows you how crazy, how demented, how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, how delulu these royalists and these monarchists are really starting to become because of Meghan's success. I mean, the success of With Love Meghan and As Ever has really started to drive them around the bend. And they are starting to make some really unhinged, untethered type posts. And this is an example of one of them. Look at here. This Jack Murphy, here he is right here. Look what he posted. A squatty reposted his post. And like I said, it is totally delulu and untethered to any kind of reality. It says, the death of the king will finally be the nail in the coffin of Harry and Meghan. Now tell me, that is totally cray-cray, to say the least. I mean, they are talking about how if they're going to get back at Harry and Meghan finally when the king is dead. Well, they say Charles has cancer, but presently he works harder than all of those Left Behinds put together. And him and his horse is presently in Rome on a 4-day official state visit. That doesn't sound like anybody dying to me. But I'll tell you what, they are starting to post more and more like this. I see more and more articles about what it's going to be like when William become king, and on and on and on. And it has started to ramp up again. It really, started when they said Charles was sick, but now they are ramping it up again. I guess because, he took that little quick hospital stay. But we all know and believe that that was just to knock Meghan off the front pages, which it never did. But I digress. And so it's starting to ramp up again. And I'm seeing more and more posts like this. And my whole thing is, what do they think William gonna do to Harry and Meghan after Charles dies? After Charles walk up the steps, hold his ticket up and get it punched and get on board the train to glory. What is William gonna do? I mean, it is just ridiculous. They cannot fathom the success of Harry and Meghan. Why? Because they thought that they had the power to destroy them. And they are so offended and so put aback by the fact that they do not have as much power as they thought they had. And they mad about it because Harry and Meghan just keep on going, especially Meghan. Meghan just keeps on going, and they just heap the abuse on her and heap the abuse on her. Look at this old Sophie Canduca. Even she joined in on it with her lies and trying to smear Meghan because she thought it would be to her benefit. Yes, but Meghan just absolutely just keeps brushing it off and keeps on going, and they cannot stand it. It is driving them around the bend, like I said, totally delulu. Because you have to be totally delulu to write something like this. And this particular squatty that posted it said this: they are now wishing death on King Charles, all because they can't stand that as ever stock sold out in minutes. Where it's a lie. It's all because of the success. That house, their friends, everything that they have accumulated since leaving from over there across the pond drives them crazy to no end. And don't get it twisted. Just because some of them are quiet, don't think they are not agonizing day after day after day, especially over there in Kensington Palace. That is the reason why we have this uproar in Cinebale right now, is because they cannot stand it. And it's so sad. It really is pathetic that you focus on someone else's success instead of focusing on yours, and absolutely using someone else's measuring stick to measure what's going on with you. If they paid as much attention to what was going on with them, they would not be as mediocre as they are. But they just cannot. And Harry and Meghan drives them crazy to no end, to the point where Jack Murphy is posting some off the wall, unhinged nonsense such as this. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up. And this is a repost of another squatty that posted that same post that this Jack Murphy had posted. And it says, wishing for the death of your beloved king as a measure of punishment, Her Royal Highness Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was not on my bingo card when as ever was announced. Whose bingo card could that ever been on? Whose bingo card could that ever be on? These people are sick. They would get rid of Charles and just to try to hurt Harry and Meghan. This is how fever-minded, this is how deep this goes. That's why I was saying in my pop-up today, I will not be hurt. I will not be disappointed. I will not feel any kind of defeat, and Harry should not. if this whole thing with his security and Rayback does not work out, because this kind of nonsense is waiting for you over there. They would get rid of Charles to get back at Harry and Meghan. And the squatty that reposted the post said this: it's absolutely effing wild that people out there are wishing for his death just to stick it to Harry and Meghan. Is it not? Is it not? But this is what is out there. This is how fever-minded these people are. Never forget that. I don't. That is the reason why I made the pop-up I made today. That, it's okay. It's okay if Harry doesn't get the security. And how worried I am about Birmingham 2027. And if that was a setup, why did they put in such an aggressive bid to win the Invictus Games in 2027? It is a puzzlement to me. I'm just saying. But we'll see how it all shakes out. But yes, they are literally wishing death on Charles in order to try to get back at Harry and Meghan. It has gotten that deep and that desperate. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this is what this squatty is saying. Prince William and Kate Middleton preparing for the death of failing King Charles. I mean, no emotions whatsoever. They don't care about each other. Charles did Queen Betty like that. And now William is doing him like that. Really trying to rush them off of the throne. I'm just saying. And this particular squatty said this: no one can convince me they didn't off Betty because of Dusseldorf was showing Harry and Meghan too much love, while at the same time Archetypes was dominating the global Spotify. Now, y'all, when I read that, I had to let that kind of wash over me, because that's true. That is so true. When Queen Betty passed away, Meghan and Harry was absolutely just putting the points on the board. They had just came from over, I think it was the 1 year to go, Dusseldorf, and they went there and all the people was lining the streets and it was such a great visit. I think that's what it was. And then on top of that, Meghan had kicked off her Archetypes. She had unthrown Joe Rogan, absolutely knocked him off the charts, and she was number one. Because I remember that, because she chose to pause her podcast because Queen Betty had passed away. So yes, I remember that. So this squatty is saying no one can convince her that they didn't off Queen Betty to absolutely stop the juggernaut that Harry and Meghan had started when they had went to Dusseldorf. I mean, the podcast was number one all over the world, and they could not stand it. So this particular squatty is saying she think they off Queen Betty. Now let me say this. I can't say that I know anything about anything like this. We all know that the Queen had bone cancer. She was very ill, so I don't know. But I will say this. I believe it was an attempt made on Queen Betty's life. And let me explain. And like I said, this is my belief. I have no kind of evidence of it. It's just my belief. Y'all remember back when the C word was raging in these streets, and they had put the Queen in a bubble. And the Queen stayed in that bubble, and she never got the C word at all. But then when things kind of relaxed a little bit, and Charles went over there and had lunch with the Queen, I think the next day or the next 2 days, they were announcing that the Queen had the C word. And then right after that, it was announced that Charles and his horse had it too. I'm just saying. So I always kind of felt, like I said, my belief that he found out that he had the C word and he went over there carrying it over there to her so she could say bye bye. She could absolutely step up on the train podium, get her ticket, punch for the old train to glory, and she would have been out of here and he would have been king because he had it with waiting to be king. So that's my theory on how they tried to send the queen on to glory, tried to get her on board the glory train. But I don't think this particular incident where she died of bone cancer, because you could tell she was ill. But I don't know. I don't know. But this squatter makes a great point. I'm just telling you, and y'all know how I feel about them folks over there. It is not a low they won't go. If you tell me they did anything, I am willing to believe it, because it is not a low they would not go. They have not remained in power as long as that family has had a grip on power to just play it by the rules. They have not played by the rules ever. That is the reason why they have the grip that they have those duchies, that they have that, with it, sovereign grant. They have never played by the rule. And while they are getting an increase, people services are getting cut. So put anything past them at your peril. That's all I can say. And that has been Harry's misstep. He has always given them the benefit of the doubt, and he has not really came to a full understanding of how these people move. And even though he was born in there, he really thought that they cared about him. No, they don't. They're lizard people. They're snakes. They're vipers. They're scorpions. They don't care about anybody. All they care about is sting, sting, sting. Let me be on top. Yes. So I don't put anything past them. And I hope Harry has gotten to the point where he doesn't put anything past them either. Because when he does that, him and his family will be safer. I'm just saying. And this particular squatter goes on to say, Betty was the price they were willing to pay to stop Meghan's shine. If I were Charles, I would sleep with one eye open. I would too. I would too. Because William and Kate, they want to ascend to the throne as fast as possible because of Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan, they think they'll have one up on Harry and Meghan. And they don't understand that through their pursuit of the destruction of this one couple, have absolutely destroyed the mystique of the crown. It has. People do not hold it in reverence anymore. They look at them like they are mediocre. They see them for what they are. I often say people have saw behind the curtain now, and they know that this family is no better than them. Why are you bowing to them? And how they have hounded and mistreated and abused one couple because they loved each other. And they clearly see that Harry and Meghan does nothing but mind their business. I mean, it has been what, almost 3 years, going on 3 years, that Harry and Meghan has not even, their name has not even come out of their mouths. Meghan has been a solid 3 years. Now Harry with a spare, I think it's been 2 years, going on 3 years, but it's been a solid 3 years where Meghan has not even said their name and acknowledged their existence. But yet and still they do nothing but heap abuse on her and try to sabotage everything she does. She consumes them. Their obsession with her consumes them, and it's not attractive, and it's only bringing them down, and they don't see it. Yes, you know how you try to do damage to other people, but you get it all over yourself. And that's what has happened with these people, and I love that for them. While Meghan fly high, they get dirty. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm gonna put this up. And this is one of those articles I told you. It's a lot of articles starting to come out, especially in the fail, all these nonsensical articles. And I am not going to bother to read them. I much rather watch the squatties post them and go in the comments to see what people are saying about it. And that is the way I am going to do with this particular article. Because this woman right here, Maureen Callahan, I can't stand her. I cannot. She is one of those old broke down, ugly hags. And when I tell you she broke down, she is. She is bad, bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. She is one of those. And I'm telling you, I cannot take her. I think Byron calls her the albino assassin. But I say, like Jasmine Crockett said, she's a bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. She is that. She is the antithesis of just that. She is so envious of Meghan. Every time you see her talking to that old Kenzie Schofield, when they get together, the jealousy, the envy is just dripping from their lips because they feel someone like Harry should have married someone like them. That's what this is all about. We see exactly what this is about. And it's about that. They don't think Meghan deserves what she has, and that includes Harry. And look at the article on which this bleach blonde, bad built, butch body actually wrote. It says, Maureen Callahan, why it's suddenly time for lonely Prince Harry to leave Meghan Markle in Montecito. Advocating for Harry to leave his wife and his babies to go back over there and let William put his foot on his neck. You know why? And it doesn't have anything to do with that family over there. It's the demons in her spirit. That's what she's concerned about. Because if Harry left Meghan, they would calm down. Because she would not have to see Meghan enjoying the life that she feels somehow she deserves, or someone like her deserves. Not Meghan, her. Yes. So she wants Harry to leave so she can, in her fevered mind, she might have a chance with Harry and to become a princess, or somebody like her would have a chance with Harry, because she just cannot take the fact that Meghan, this woman of African descent, is having the life she feels she deserves. That's what all of this is about. And this particular squatty reposted this and said, the lust certain white women have for like Maureen, and they absolutely tagged her in it, have for Harry to leave Meghan should be studied. I have said this How many times have I said this? It should be studied, it should be analyzed, and it should be made an official mental illness in the DSM-5. I have said that. It is a mental illness. These women are just obsessed with Harry Windsor. They are. And who he married, what he is doing, and the breakup of his family is somehow a top priority for these people. It's crazy. And this particular squad, it goes on to say the idea that Harry must be lonely because Meghan is busy is so effing backwards. I promise you, if Meghan was a white woman, this wouldn't be a thing. How many times does this man have to tell you that he loves his wife and he doesn't want to return? He is happy in America. He's happy with his family. What is not clicking? What is not connecting in that little pea brain of these women that they can't understand the words that are actually coming out of Harry's mouth? Because we know these words come out of his mouth every time he is in front of a camera and a microphone. He is saying how much he loves being in America, how much he loves his family, and where he lives and where he wants to raise his children is Montecito, California. I mean, it's as if they stop being able to process, you know, words and sentences when it comes to Harry. They make up all of this nonsense in these fevered minds of theirs. It is ridiculous. I'm just saying. And I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty is talking about it too and said, they have no confidence in their future monarch, begging Harry to abandon his wife and children to tend to William is embarrassing. Where is the lie? Because evidently in this article, she said this: leave Meghan in Montecito for weeks or months at a time. She has plenty to keep her busy. This is what this crazy woman is saying in an article. Like Harry would actually take any advice from a albino assassin, which is a bleached blonde, bad built, butch body woman who is nothing but jealous and envious and fevered minded, to say the least. Why would Harry listen to something like that? And it goes on to say he should also insist on taking their children to visit the grandfather they barely know. Well, we all know this grandfather that they barely know is a person who absolutely could care if they lived or died, especially Archie, because this is the same grandfather who I feel put a hit out on his father, his mother, and him. So when Archie grows up and find out what this man has done, how he left his father and his mother and himself out there and dropped a dime on their location and pulled their security and pretty much just put a hit out on them, Archie is not going to want to have anything to do with Charles. Why would he? Because he could not be here because of Charles. He is here because of Tyler Perry. Yes, not Charles. Why would Archie want to have a relationship with this man? And when he gets older and he reads about exactly what has gone down and how they have mistreated his mother and abused his mother, and him when he was born, call him a monkey, and his grandfather said not narrow word to protect him, to shield him, or to absolutely shut it down. He did nothing. Why would Archie want to be around someone like that? I'm just saying. And it's only going to get worse as Archie gets old enough to really find out what has gone on. He gonna want to have nothing to do with none of them. And I don't blame him. I'm just saying, because Archie could not be here right now if it was up to Charles, because Charles didn't care. He took the security, dropped the dime where their location was, and refused to take Harry's call. That's a hit. I'm just saying. And it goes on to say, if Harry doesn't grow a spine now, he never will. And without William softening, he surely be totally cut off when his brother becomes king. Who cares? Who cares? How is that going to change the price of tea when it comes to anything? Harry and Meghan are going to continue with their lives. They're going to continue to thrive. And they don't want to be a part of William's life. They don't want to be a part of anything that's over there. They don't want to be a part of that. Because if they wanted to be a part of it, they would have stayed. What is this woman talking about in her fevered dreams? She somehow still thinks that Harry feels like that is such a prized thing to do. If Harry valued that kind of life and valued that family as a means of his identity, he would be over there right now. Harry don't care anything about that. But here she is talking about he needs to grow a spine now. He never will, or without William softening. Who gives a rat's ass about William softening? That maniac, that incandescent with rage psychopath, the one who attacked him, and the one who just absolutely continues to attack and attack and attack his wife, plant story after story and lie after lie to denigrate and tear down his wife. Is that the one you talking about softening? They better worry about Harry softening, if Harry's going to soften. Because if I was Harry, I would not have nothing to do with any of them, including going to Charles' funeral and including not being a part of his coronation. I would cut it off. I would. And they could say whatever they wanted to say and do whatever they wanted to do with that dukedom and that duchess. You know, I wouldn't care about being Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I'm sure the people of Sussex are wonderful people, but it's the people that give them that. Well, the Queen did, so I'll take that back. But if they wanted that dukedom, I would give it to them. I would say, here you go. If you will leave me alone, here you go. We'll just be Harry and Meghan from this point on. Leave us alone. Because that's all Harry and Meghan need, really. Their name, their God-given name. That's all they need. Because right now, if you go in the search engine of Google and put in Meghan, guess who come up? Yes, Meghan Sussex come up. And that right there tells you that she don't need to be a duchess. She absolutely is right on point with just Meghan. And she'll make just as much money. She'll get just as much attention. She will absolutely have just as much shine without that title. I see them all the time talking about, we're going to take the title. We'll take them. Take them. And shut up about it. Do it. Because we will have a party on that day. Squatties will absolutely have a hallelujah come to Jesus party when that happens. Because maybe y'all will shut the F up about it and let us enjoy our faves doing what they do. And y'all will go on about your business and shut up. At this point, we could care less. We just want some flower sprinkles at this point now. I'm just saying. And then she says, she goes on in this article, the albino assassin. She goes on to say, during the hard work of rebuilding a bond with his father and making it clear he expects nothing in return, not money or another patronage. Harry don't need that. Or more titles for his children is perhaps the only way William might entertain a reappropriate, however, surface level. Nobody gives a rat's. These people are crazy. When I tell you they are fever-minded, they are. And William and that family, they are. They don't understand that the mystique has been broken. The mask has fallen. The curtain has been pulled back. Nobody cares anything about that nonsense over there. And that is not the end all and be all of anything anymore. Nobody cares about any of that anymore. That's why squatties have been saying this time and time again. Get the titles, take them, and put them just as far up your butt as you possibly can get them and go away and leave this couple to be happy and to absolutely thrive and for us to be able to enjoy them and just see what they're doing, what activity they're doing. If Harry's going to NATO, what is going on with him? Just stop it. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this particular squatter is talking about that article and said this. These dried out prunes, these dried out prunes will be on their chipped knees forever praying, I know that their most handsome, charismatic prince left and it hurts, but for their own mental health, they better get over it. There is no one in the world Harry would leave Meghan for. Where is the lie? And it has been over a decade and they still are crying. When will it stop? When? It's crazy. It is a mental health issue at this point. Like this, like this squad is said, for your own mental health. For your own mental health. Get over it. I'm telling you. And then the one, and look at the one that's down below. It says, the lonely Harry story gets recycled with boring regularity. Does Harry leave his children for those weeks or months or separate them from their mother? Clearly, Maureen doesn't care. Harry hasn't kissed up to the British tabloids for a puff piece. Unlike his family, he's got a spine. Exactly. Harry has taken on all of those rags over there. One thing is not liking in Harry is a spine. I don't know what she's talking about, but we all know what they're talking about. Just begging for Harry to come back. I'm just saying, leave your family. Talking about come for a month or two at a time. Are you kidding me? I mean, it is crazy town. It is crazy town. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up. And this particular squatty says, tell me Maureen is unhinged without telling me she's unhinged. Look at her proving pretty much everyone that speaks out against the toxic tabloid media right. Oh well, this is her legacy, being a weird on print. In a few years, she'll be just like Line Levin, lying for $25. Lying for $25. They say that's what Angela Levin gets, $25. I think she gets a little more than $25, but I think it's like $250, something like that. Yeah, and she doesn't do anything but lie. And then the next one said, this is what this old hag. I think somebody been listening to the read. Yes, because we all know I think we coined that old ugly hag deal. But I digress. It says this is what the old hag Maureen wants for Harry: a lonely and miserable life, plus being a third wheel to the whales. Maureen is a disgusting human being. Her children must be ashamed of her. Now, I don't think that thing has any children, to be honest. I don't even think she has a man. Would you want to have children with her? I'm telling you. I think that's why she's so mad, because she doesn't have any possible, she doesn't have any prospects of having the life that she sees that Meghan has, and that she feels that it should be hers or someone like hers. That is the problem. I will always say this. I feel like the root of this hatred for Meghan has a lot to do with racism. It absolutely does. Feeling like something was stolen from them that never was them. Because if it was yours, it could never have been stolen from you. Harry saw Meghan, fell in love with Meghan. It was Meghan he wanted, not someone like you. And it's hard for them to swallow that. The most eligible prince in the world chose a woman of color, and they just cannot get their head around it. And they don't want them to be happy. They do not. I'm just saying. But y'all, I want y'all to look at these pictures. Look at these pictures. That is what they wanted for Harry. They wanted him to fall out of the clubs drunk. They wanted that Harry. They wanted to keep that Harry. Third wheel Harry, that they used his light, his shine, to shine on William and Kate's dull butts. And just absolutely just follow behind William and let William continue to treat him like dirt. Wouldn't even invite him over to dinner. That's what William would not even invite his brother over to dinner. But yet and still, somehow, Harry is supposed to want to reconnect with that. Stop it. That's crazy. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up because I'm messy. On the royal family website, Charles went on and said this: as we begin our first visit to Italy as king and queen, we are so looking forward to celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary in such a special place and with such special people. And then it's signed Charles R., Charles Rex, and you know. And of course, they had to go down there. They ate them up in them comments. And see, this particular squatter said, how many lives have you destroyed to get where you are? Camilla is not the queen. No, she's not the queen. She is the horse. She is. And as Diana used to call her, the Rottweiler. Yes. And I'm going to put this up. And Good Morning Britain had the nerve to talk about their wedding anniversary as well. Talk about King Charles and Queen Camilla will spend their 20th wedding anniversary evening as guests of honor at a state banquet in Rome. The royals will join Italians VIPs at the black tie dinner held as part of the couple's 4-day state visit to Italy. Well, in their comments, this particular person said this and posted a picture of them and Diana and said this: what about the 44th anniversary of their adulterous relationship? They will never get past that. Never. I don't understand what he was thinking. Him putting his horse on the throne. She will never be accepted. She will never be respected. She will never, ever, ever be embraced fully by the British people. And I don't blame them. I don't, because they did Diana dirty. I'm just saying. All right, I'm gonna put this up. And Ronika, she posted about it. I guess she is on this trip with them. And the squatty that reposted it said this: I am tickled pink from the lack of engagement. And as you can see down there, ain't nobody studying Charles and his horse. I mean, nobody absolutely cares. And that's why they get so mad with Harry and Meghan. Because when Meghan posts something on her Instagram, it's 5 million, it's 6 million, it's 8 million. And what do they get? 6.6 thousand. That's it. And 2 comments. Oh, and this particular squatty under here said they were so hell bent on destroying Harry and Meghan that they let the British media define them with breathless coverage of the royal rift. Unfortunately for them, people lost interest in the endless rift and, by definition, also lost interest in them. Talk about shooting one in their own foot, where it's life. I said this earlier. People have absolutely saw behind the curtain. The mystique is done. Nobody cares about it. You know, we all see the barriers being put out and nobody bothering to come out there to wave a flag. People just are tired of it. They have shown themselves to be petty and bitter and nasty and evil and absolutely the most mediocre bunch that ever came through a birth canal. And people are just not feeling it anymore, to the point where you can't even muster but 2 comments. And I bet you if I went and found that, those 2 comments are negative. People are not having it anymore. And I just love that for them, because I have always said this: the blowback. They did not anticipate the blowback from their full on assault on a couple who just wants to mind their business and be happy. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up real quick. And it says the King and Queen Camilla celebrating in Italy while UK household face the highest inflation in 40 years, with 1 in 5 people struggling to afford basic essentials. The royal vacation versus reality. Exactly. It is really getting bad in Great Britain. Like it says, 1 in 5 people struggling to afford basic essentials, but yet instead they are getting a raise to the sovereign grant. Yes, I think it's like 45 million they getting extra. It's just ridiculous. This is, and so they go on vacation. Well, go over there, shake hands. People don't really respect them because they know who they are, especially the horse. I'm just saying. All right, I'm going to put this one up. And it says, who gives a flying flick about King Charles and Queen Camilla's anniversary? Couldn't care less if I tried. And look at the pictures that they put up. And look at this one. Where they absolutely put where they are shooting the bird to them. You see it? It is so funny. Oh my God. So funny. So funny. Oh my goodness. And this one right here is going to be my last one. They out here lying saying Harry is over across the pond. Now, it might be true, but I hadn't heard anybody saying that it is true. And I hope not. I hope Harry does not have to be present in this particular hearing with Ravak. I hope his lawyers are the only people that needs to be present. Let him stay in Montecito. Prince Harry flies to the UK just as his father, King Charles, departs country with Camilla. And They don't know that. I think they're just trying to take a shot in the dark just in case he does. Because we all know GB News doesn't matter. It doesn't bother them to be wrong. It doesn't bother them to lie. So they just took a shot in the dark, and they just hoping that it will happen so it'll prove them to be correct. But if it doesn't, they okay with that too, because that's all they do. People have come to expect them to lie. And this particular squatty said this, and by flying, do you mean sunbathing in his backyard by his pool with his sexy wife by his side in a bikini? Yes, that's exactly what they mean. Well, I might have to make a correction here because look like GB News was absolutely right, because there's Harry. Harry is in London. I guess a broken clock is right twice a day. And GB News, we all know that they are right even less than that, but they got this one right. And here's a picture of Squatty posted. It says Papa Sussex is in London town. He looks so good, tan, moisturized, well fed, and well loved. So I am very interested in how all this is going to turn out. We all know that they lose their SHIT when Harry shows up over there. So it is going to be something to watch because it's already breaking news. So, yes, yes, Harry is in London. So, on with the rest of the podcast. I'm telling you. All right, y'all. Listen, we have a big day tomorrow. Well, we have a big day today because like I said, by the time I edit this video, it will be the day where the podcast is dropping and the Rayvac hearing. I don't expect us to hear anything out of that hearing. I really don't. I think it's probably going to be closed door. So we'll see. We'll see. And it's supposed to be 2 days. But yes, Megan's podcast dropped today. Cannot wait. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, y'all. See y'all later. Bye.